Maybe it's a little bit. That's better. I am driving my car. Welcome everybody to the channel today. It is Saturday. Not that we're going to date the channel, but Angela and I just got off a live dial session with some agents that on our team and booking virtual and face-to-face. And Angela, this kind of goes on the last couple of videos that I put up on virtual sales. Virtual has gone viral.
Yeah, it has.
I mean, it rocks right now. People are very open to it, and people are making a lot of money. If I wasn't driving, I could post some of the numbers, but I mean, we got numbers where they're, if I could get it just a second while I'm driving here, I can maybe throw some up. But do you remember any of the numbers? There's like, 50 contacts, 50 dials, 9 contacts, 6 appointments set, and they get, 2 or 3 apps. They're having $3,000 to $5,000 days.
Yeah.
Virtually.
Absolutely.
Never leaving the home. Your business is not restricted because you can buy leads, get yourself a non-resident license, and sell anywhere in the country. And no driving, no wear and tear on the car. Now, I'm not being down on face-to-face. I mean, most of you, I think, on this channel know that, I've been kind of a negative on not negative, but, I was somewhat skeptical because in the past, pre-COVID, the numbers just weren't there. The business didn't stay on the books, and even if you could do a non face-to-face appointment and do it virtual, it didn't stay in the books, and so the numbers didn't really play out. In my opinion, in our favor, in your favor as an agent, because what are we in this business for? Residual income, long term, and so if they don't stay in the books, then you don't get that residual income. However, we've been tracking it since the last December, since last March, when this whole thing started. We were kind of forced into that virtual mode. And the numbers are actually looking pretty good, and actually looking a little better than face-to-face. So, as I've always said on these videos, and to all of you who subscribe to the channel and watch our videos, is that virtual may not be to your liking. It may not be a major part of your business, but it should be a part of your business, because I do believe the lid's off the can, and maybe I can do this, and I don't think you can put the lid back on the can. Not gonna work. It is what it is. I'll just be a ghost man. So, I think that there's no question that virtual is here to stay, and it'll be the business of the industry is trending in that direction. So, Angela, we had a bunch of agents on the team, that chimed in today on those virtual sessions, but a lot of some face-to-face, but I think it was about 90% virtual, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a huge percentage that was virtual because, again, you can book your appointments wherever you want. I also think that there's people, because it's now been going on for 11 months. Can you believe it? 11 months dealing with this virus. But I think that people are becoming far more comfortable and accustomed to doing business through things like whether it's FaceTime or Whereby or Zoom, even seniors. And I just think that it's not the way that it was, in March, where it was still, people were like, I don't want to, I don't know about the Zoom thing. And, now it's become such a part of our lives and so second nature that I think that people are not just more accustomed to meeting on Zoom, right? But we become much more accustomed to having to do business that way. I mean, we deal with a lot of companies, insurance carriers, and even, I was thinking about this the other day. I was on the phone with Verizon making a change in our account, and I could hear a dog barking, in the woman's, background. I'm on the phone with insurance carriers sometimes, and I'll hear, late in the day, I'll hear a child, and it's just not a big deal anymore, because everybody is having to conduct business in a new world. I think that's really what it comes down to, and people are just more and more accustomed to it.
I think that's a huge point. Actually, I didn't even put those two things together. You just did. I think the perfect storm is that COVID came.
Yeah.
The carriers are forced to come out with more non-face-to-face products, which we didn't really have pre-COVID. We didn't have a lot of face-to-face stuff we could sell. I think all carriers now have a non-face-to-face product, right?
Yeah.
and then combine that with the fact that the perfect storm forced everybody to learn how to function, staying at home, which means even older seniors, the older generation, was forced to learn some sort of technology. So call it trial by fire, whatever, but they are more comfortable with using technology. Whereas when we first started this out in March of last year, Zoom was oblivious. No one even had a clue how to use Zoom.
Right.
And so you had that challenge. We were trying, do whatever we can to meet them wherever we can on FaceTime or whatever. That's kind of changed now. Most people have Zoom, and whereby it's very easy to use. So we've kind of figured out the technology part of it. Now it just comes back to what this business has always been, which is about relationships. How to build that relationship over the phone, and then how do you transition from the phone to a virtual, screen sharing type situation.
And I think that we've talking about being more comfortable with it. One of the things that on one of our team calls last night, one gentleman who is not used to doing this yet, right, hasn't really decided to jump into the way things are going right now, and he had a really valid question, and he asked another top producer, so how do you create what is, in my opinion, the number one sales tool when you're in this business in the home, and that is building a relationship. We meet a lot of agents that talk about when they're brand new. Well, I need to know about the products. I need to learn about the products. I need to learn, I need the agent guide. I need all the rate charts. I need all this stuff. I need to know all the details about the product. No, you don't. What you really should be learning about is the basics of the products and how to become a better listener and how to become a better communicator and how to start conversations, how to ask people about their lives. And that was his question. How do you build that rapport on something like Zoom? And it goes back to my point a second ago, which is I think that we've all just gotten much more comfortable doing that. I think that we've just gotten more comfortable having a conversation through a screen than we ever were before, and it's more natural. I find myself getting on Zoom and asking people, hey, how you doing, and we start having a conversation. It's not that much different than if I was sitting at their kitchen table. It's really not. If you're doing it right and if you practice at it. If you get on there and you say, okay, Bob and Mary, so let's talk about this product.
There's things you have to do, right? You have to. The challenge with virtual is you've got to try to remove the screen between you and them, and make them feel like and make it appear like you're sitting in the same room. And you do that by investing a little bit in your environment. You do that by using a good camera, using putting some lighting on your face, dressing appropriately. Be conscious of your background. These are the things that I think that many people that are trying to do virtual miss. Look, when you have this is all about credibility. And online or in a virtual setting, how you appear is all about credibility. So if you show up with a T-shirt on and unshaven, and I talk about unshaven and just not looking like you just kind of rolled out of bed, they're going to be even more skeptical of you. So or you have no good lighting. I see a lot of people trying to do it where they're either ghosted like we are right now, or they're so dark that it's a bit scary. You're not going to succeed. So you have to spend $100 or so to create an environment that is professional, that's not scary, right?
Right, and I would challenge that you even have to, one thing that I am notorious about is my office can sometimes look like a complete disaster zone. Especially on a busy week, man, there's piles that just accumulate until I can kind of get to the point where I can deal with them. Well, I began to realize by looking in my own camera what that looked like. And I thought, gosh, I don't like that. Like, I wouldn't want to log in and see somebody with this mess behind them all the time. And it really just took some straightening up, right? We moved some furniture pieces around.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with my office again because I was like, wow, it has such a nice feel to it. So warm.
Yeah. And I painted mine.
And you did some paint work in yours and adjusted some lighting stuff. And I literally spent $40 on a pair of curtains and $35 on a camera with a light, and it has dynamically changed I think what other people see in my office and how I feel about it. And we've had agents that, like you just talked about, they started out doing this and having these conversations with people while they were sitting on their couch in their living room. And, they had their laptop propped up, and it was so dark, and it was a blank white wall behind them. And I thought, I wouldn't buy from that person. I think you have to look at that picture and ask yourself, if that person logged on and told me that they were an insurance agent, would I feel comfortable giving them my time, my personal information, my banking information? And so she started seeing what other people were doing and completely dynamically changed her surroundings. And guess what? She, bam, wrote 3 apps the very next week. And is now, she looks the part.
Yeah. Well, I think it is. And the way we discovered it, we needed to kind of upgrade our situation was we were on dual Zoom. We were on the same Zoom together, but we were in different offices. So I screenshotted you and you screenshotted me, and we go, we got to fix this. Yeah, we got to fix this. So that being said, I mean, there's a lot of success is always in the details. And so there's a lot of details that you need to consider. But that's the purpose of this video is we set 51 appointments in a dial session. 99% of them were virtual. There were some that were done face to face, and those agents are already running those appointments right now and already made some sales. Yep. I just saw one post up here a minute ago that came through that they've already made a couple of sales this morning.
We've had 3 agents.
Yeah.
No, we've had 4 agents that we know about that booked appointments that had to leave the dial session because they called, booked an appointment, was an hour later. Yeah. Done.
I mean, I think I hate to, you have to kind of temper the success with it's not easy. There is a learning process, but it's worth it. If you can make $2,000-$3,000, even $1,000 a week from home, working. If you got a full time, we got people that are full time on our team that are doing virtual part time and still writing several $1,000s a week. That's powerful.
Yep.
I mean, powerful. You got to be willing to be bad before you're good. You got to be willing to learn the process, but it's learnable. Anybody watching this video can learn how to do it. And again, it doesn't matter where you live. It's not geographically restricted because you can get leads anywhere in any state in the country and get yourself a non-residence and dial into that state. So that's great because direct face-to-face has always been a challenge if you live in a remote area. That barrier's been removed. So clean up an office, get yourself a virtual environment going in, get in the business, get on a team that's doing a lot of virtual stuff. Those things are huge considerations. The ones that are throwing around big contracts and all this other crap, doesn't matter. I mean, what you need is someone that's successful that can teach you this. As I said to several people yesterday. There's a certain, it doesn't matter if you got prior sales skills or you don't have prior sales skills. Honestly, I don't even care about your sales skills because, while that might help you here if you're used to making sales or you're used to using the phone, those skills in your past life or your current life, occupation, job that you're working for, and, somebody's giving you, buying your time, to do, that's great. But there's a certain way to work these leads, Angela, and that really applies to virtually. Because, you can't just say, well, I'm going on the phone because I'm a telemarketer, jump on the phone and drive virtual. We've had that situation here, and those people don't succeed because they're not coachable and they're not willing to learn the way that we figured out how to do it in the last year that is creating success. We've got 8 or 9, top multiple 6-figure earners that were created by doing virtual sales, right? And they're doing it 100% virtually. So that is if I was looking at sales, if I was looking to enter this industry and I was in virtual, I want to do it virtually, I could only, we got people on our team that can only do virtual for health reasons, whatever. Right. They can't do face to face.
Yeah, this one particular woman can't, health-wise, she can't drive.
Right. So those are the things I'd be looking for. Do you have it? Because I'm telling you right now, the power this morning was that we had I don't know, 30 plus agents on there. They come in and they didn't stay the whole time. They were in and out, book some appointments, and then they get their day or week set up, and then they were gone. But there's power in association of everybody doing the same thing, that you can listen in, learn from everybody else, ask questions, and duplicate what's being done that's successful, rather than try to figure it out on your own. And I tell you, that is what I've said for years about coachability. I require certain things when I take an agent on, because I look at this as a partnership. I'm not interested in signing people up. It's a partnership, and I don't want to waste time with somebody that's not committed. So I talk about being coachable, having a burning desire to succeed, and to be able to have a good work ethic. Those things are minimum qualities I'm looking for. But if you have those things, you can wildly succeed here. And you can work yourself into a top contract, and still have an environment where you can learn, still have someone, ground level, case by case, day to day support and training. Our agents book appointments, then they run the cases by us. We help them select the products. That's why our numbers are so good. They're not getting declines. They're not getting rated policies, because we have several people. You're the main one, Angela, but they got several people here that will help them prepare and get ready for their case. Right? The biggest challenge in this industry is everyone wants to sign people up, and no one wants to provide any support. I'm not talking about the kind of support an IMO brings you, because they're not in the business that you can't call them at 11 o'clock at night, and you're sitting in the house and you need help, right? Our agents do that all the time, but they're also going into that home already pre-qualifying the client, prepared, and that's why our numbers are so good. So it's not one or two things. I always find it to be several things combined. So virtual sales is huge. It has gone viral. I mean, these guys are making writing $5,000 to $15,000 a week. They're doing it 100% virtually. They're calling across all time zones. They're plugged into us. They have probably the best, and I'm biased, they have probably the best support and training in the industry, because they're booking the appointments. We're helping them put the case together. They're going into that virtual sale prepared, versus going into that situation and then try to underwrite that case while you're live. Because again, another thing that we found to be true is that you gotta keep them entertained to a certain extent, because otherwise they'll hang up. Right, so you don't want to go in there and have to do it. You have your face in your phone, trying to figure out the rates, and they're bored stiff.
You're going to end up with somebody like me.
Yeah, get to the point.
Right, where I'm just going to get frustrated. Or if you and I were sitting on a Zoom and we were sitting there, I have a million things in my house that need to be done, and you would have a hard time. You know how I am. I mean, I'd be up. I'm going to go do laundry real fast, or I'm going to go do the dishwasher real fast, or I'm going to go vacuum real fast, or whatever. You're gonna have a hard time having me just sit there and wait.
Exponentially, you had it, and I've had it, where you walk in the door, okay, let's get to it. What do you got?
Right.
And they don't want you to do a presentation. You want to get right to the rates. That's the face to face. You had the same thing virtually. The difference of virtually is when they're done,
they can be done.
They're done. They're hanging up. So you got to be. I feel going again. Those things are what I would be looking for. But you got to get involved. I mean, get yourself a license. I mean, this is going to be it's already been a record-breaking January. That's why I say virtual sales have gone viral, because there's been a perfect storm. You got the COVID, you got the technology. People. Let's face it. People, have progressively over time. The last 3-4 years have wanted people in their home less anyway, even pre-COVID. And now, if you get good at this, you can make a multiple six-figure income, or whatever you want to make: $50,000 a year, $100,000 a year, $20,000 a year, part-times, whatever. Once you learn the skills necessary, and I don't believe there's any better. And we got this thing dialed, and I don't believe there's any better training and support system on the planet than what we provide at our agency. But we can have that conversation, and we can talk about other places that you might want to go. But all I'm saying is there's multiple things that you ought to be considering, and again, the proof's in the pudding. I would say this is that T in timing is better than T in talent. We can teach you the skills. You bring a working work ethic and coachability, and a huge desire to succeed and own your income rather than rent it from a job. Look, that's the other thing, is that we've got a lot of people out there now that have figured out there is no job security in jobs. Right, when the government or the state can shut it down. I mean, you need to come into the new what do you call it, the new it's not new century, but step into
New.
the new world, the new normal. I hate that comment.
I hate that.
Which
The new
is
normal.
being able to work from home anywhere you want to live. You can make multiple six figures, and also while making a living, you're making a difference in people's lives. But again, the T and timing is more important than the T and talent, and the timing is right now.
That's right.
What do you think?
I think
I did
it's
all
right now.
talking. What do you want to say?
I think you said it all. I think you have to, we talk a lot about decision and activity. You got to decide, and you got to decide beyond. We talked about this last night. It's very easy when you're relaxed and you're feeling inspired to decide something, but you have to wake up the next morning and make that decision again and go do something. Put an activity behind it.
Yeah.
And listen, we fall into that same trap. I mean, it would not have been hard this morning after a long week and end of the
very
month.
easy.
It would have been really easy to convince me to just stay in my nice warm bed. It's been very, very cold in Northern California. So, it was like 35 degrees outside. It would not have taken a lot to convince me to just stay cuddled up in my covers and, wake up and relax and read a book. And instead, you have to start with the decision that I'm going to get up.
Yeah.
And you swing your legs out and you get in the shower. And from there, you have to follow that with the activity of doing something. And we sat down and we made dials. And I booked at least my Monday and my part of my Tuesday. Can't shake a stick at that.
Nope.
And that's what it takes. And so you just have to, I would just encourage you to decide and then immediately put some sort of activity behind it. And an activity that is we talked about this today too, an activity that's actually going to produce a result.
Right.
Organizing your office, going back to what we were talking about, your background, that kind of
Busy
thing.
work.
That's something you do at 10 o'clock at night, and you do it in 20 minutes. You take a half hour. How long did it take us to really move around the stuff in my office and for me to put the piles into, some organization? And it's a little therapeutic. Take a half hour, done.
Yeah.
I talked to some people that, 2 weeks later, I'm almost finished, putting together a binder of crap I've printed off. Those aren't the activities that are going to help you create this business. So I just think you need to decide and act, and there you go.
I'll tell you something else. I mean, I don't know why we're even talking, because the YouTube people will tell us that after about 4 or 5 minutes, you guys are bored with this and you've already moved on. But hopefully you haven't, because I think this is some valuable information. But here's the facts, okay? There's IMOs out there. There's a particular IMO out there that appeals to that younger, generation, 20 to 25 years old. They pound their chest on and take pride in banging out 200 dials a day. And if you're not willing to commit to writing $10,000 a week, but they got T-shirts that say that. $10,000 a week, you're not willing to drive 6 to 8 hours a day, then they don't want you. Well, that's great. Okay, if that's the kind of person that you are, then go for it. But we used to do that kind of driving too, and it gets old real fast. And there's really no reason to do that kind of stuff, because we've got people out here that are making the same amount of money those guys are making. There's a reason why they're offering those different contract levels, and there's usually something they're giving up, which is good quality leads. I realize that they make it sound like they're doing you a favor by not selling you leads. Look, an IMO that has their own lead program is a tremendous benefit, because they're co-oping the leads, first of all, so you're getting good quality direct mail leads from your IMO. It's not doing you a favor by handing you a list of 10 or 15 vendors and tell you that, hey, go negotiate your own price, go figure out what good leads there are, because lead companies that are selling leads are much like snake oil salespeople. I mean, there's a vast difference in the quality, and so we work with them. Now, we have that same list over here, but the guys that are knocking it out of the park are still working the direct mail leads. So again, you can make a ton of money, staying at home. My advice to people is, if they're in your neighborhood, go face to face. You're probably going to you have more success face to face locally than you would, doing virtual, because there's no question you have more control over it than you would in a virtual sale, because they can hang up and you're not sitting in their living room. But outside of that, again, the world is your oasis. You can get leads anywhere. in the country, no matter where you live, and that's exciting us because we plan on getting in an RV and traveling for a couple of years, and we can still make the same amount of money and never have to leave. We don't have to pull a car behind us. We can use it to go run around, doing face-to-face stuff. We can do it all virtual, sitting in the coach. So you can build yourself a tremendous lifestyle doing this business right now. And look, if you're there's a lot of people out there that haven't that aren't doing virtual. And that's again another reason why they're offering a contract that they're offering. So, reach out to us if you have any questions. We can certainly talk IMOs if you want, but I think we should spend more time on talking about lead quality, support, and training. Leads, support, and training. This business is all about lead flow and activity, and day to day, it's about support and training, especially if you're brand new. You want to make sure that what you're writing actually gets through from submission to commission, because that's your money, right? For the client is important because they get the protection, and for you get paid because if you're getting leads, you're paying for leads, right? And so there's a cost to doing this business. So you want to have someone in your corner that knows the experience. We have an underwriting department, insurance charge of it. You can talk to her on every single case, and then 80+% of your cases that you write will get approved. That's huge, humongous. So anyway, my contact information is in the description. You can reach me by phone or by email if you have any questions. If I can help you make a decision, where you want to go and do this business. But get involved. Get it. The timing is now, and I'm here to help you. I talk to probably 50 to 100 of you a week, and if it's fit for us to work together, we will. Out of 50, maybe 5 or 6 of them will end up here. So that's. It's all about making sure that you get in the business and get in with somebody that fits. It's a fit for you, and you can have success, and they're going to support you and not lock you up and tie your hands.
Okay, we're going to have lunch.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Have a good day.